passion behind fishing may start for your story different than mine, or may start the same. So for me, it was Jimmy Lockery. Jimmy Lockery in ice fishing, he was a great ice fisherman who loved to catch perch and eat perch. So he would stop in the neighborhood and pick up a couple of kids on the way, and we would all go down to Canisius Lake and we would catch fish. Personally, for me, the Mackie story truly is about that. It's about, being that guy who helps kids catch more fish, who maybe drives the next big content provider because of maybe spending a little bit of time and watching my videos. And one thing that Maki Plastics has been able to do for me is it's helped me, clarity-wise, help me share my story. And not just my story to share my story, but more so my story to hopefully drive and develop the next generation of people in the outdoors and how they're going to enjoy that. And what that means, quite simply, is whether it's through product, whether it's through education, which is something I'm very passionate about, is how you help other people understand what you're doing, whether it's through helping people truly understand the biology of a lake and maybe some of the biology of fish, and then the environment that they're kind of recreating on safely, that floating sheet of ice, and how they interact with the fish and how that really drives them forward. So for me personally, my passion for a long time was the same thing as it was for Jimmy. I don't pull up in the neighborhood and pick up a couple of kids to go fishing. I put bait in kids' hands to go fishing, and I try through my technology, through the stuff that I've done in my classroom, through me personally as an outdoorsman, trying to help other people just love what I love and just embrace that. Have decided that virtually I'm pulling up to the house and go, meet me, come on, get in the car, kids, we're going out ice fishing. And for me, that's the passion. That's what drives me. That's what drives Maki Plastic to develop the next bait. We've got 35 aquatic insects. Just about something for everyone. But guess what? Tomorrow, somebody's going to call me up. Drew's going to call me up and say, hey, Scott, I saw one of these. Can you make it? And I'm going to go, you know what? I think that's a great idea, dude. Let's do it. This story really starts right here. It starts like many great stories, and that is somebody has a great idea, and that idea is just rambling around in their head, and then all of a sudden it jumps out of their head and becomes this real thing. And so for all of us as fishermen, we've kind of had that in the back of our head at one time or another. We saw something, hey, what about this? Or what about this? So here's the story. So we're sitting on the deck of Ricky's porch, and my buddy Tony pulls out a whip and he goes, hey, what if we make this look like a mayfly nymph? Because those mayfly nymphs, when they hatch, are the dynamite bait for walleyes on Oneida Lake in New York State. And I said, you know what, that's a great idea. And me as a school teacher, I was teaching anyways. I teach automated machining robotics. And so it was a natural piece of my curriculum anyways. So what I did was I took those baits, those ideas back home, and I took it in my classroom. Like I always show my students or teach my students, I show them how to do it, I teach them how to do it, and then they get to do it. So I made these small little things, appendages with some wings coming out the side and some great tails that go out back, and it moved really great, and it looked just like a mayfly. And so we took that back and caught some fish with it that fall, and then the story continues like this. So my students came to me and said, hey Brauer, what if we make a mold and that mold catches fish? Can we get points for that? And I said, absolutely. I want you to make these molds anyways, and then I want you to catch the fish too, because then your fish story starts. And so they caught the fish and they go, hey Brauer, what if we bring the fish in? Can we have a fish fry on Friday? So we would do that, and year after year it got more and more. And so I wound up collecting all of these molds because, again, I show them how to do it, I teach them how to do it, and then they have to do it. So I wound up collecting all these molds, and I was making baits for my buddies. And eventually what happened is Maki Plastic, the birth of the whole idea, the whole concept behind matching the hatch with rubber baits, kind of was born out of that classroom energy of my students. And what they gifted me with was the motivation to create a company. That company is Maki Plastic. Our passion, true passion for fishermen, is to help them put more fish in their bucket. So when you understand the life cycle of aquatic insects, or even if you don't, but you know what the fish is spitting out into your hand and it looks something like what we make, and you put that on and you drop it down, one of the things you get is that immediate reaction from a fish where they're super excited about what they're looking at because they think it's the real deal. And then when you make the plastic, like I took 3 years to create the plastic that we make it, and all different kinds. I think there was 7 to 9 iterations of just what the plastic felt like so that the fish would hold it longer. So the hold time goes up so we have more time to set the hook. And then when you make it taste right, because you put some fish-based aminos in there and you also top coat it so that there's none of our human scent on it, you create that 1, 2, 3 punch that really knocks out the fish. And then ultimately your fish story begins just like ours did, because we're just trying to be smarter than a bluegill and put that next fish in our bucket, in our live well, whatever the case may be. So what we do and what we create and what these hands all are a part of, everything in Maki Plastic is a part of, is the dream of looking at that aquatic insect, stuff that really exists inside the water table. And then you know what to put on your line next. Drop down that hole, and I think you're going to be a much more productive and ultimately a much more happy fisherman because of the fact that you spent the time to learn those lessons, not from an old guy like me, but you learn those lessons from fish and what bug they wanted to eat that day. And when you can figure that out, you're going to be a much more productive fisherman. I mentioned quite a few times hands, and that's an important concept behind Maki Plastic because it really is a handshake partnership with Clam Outdoors and ultimately Clam Pro Tackle. And so they just entrust in us that each of the hands that touches our baits, so all of our handmade products as they go into the bags, you know, they're touched by the guy who does the stickers, they're touched by the person who puts the tray in, they're touched by the person who's pouring the baits and who makes up the mixture of our particular rubber that we use. And then, you know, there's 8 drips of Mackie juice over top of what's already infused inside those baits. The entire the process for us, from concept, you know, just a sketch on sometimes a small piece of paper, all the way through to the prototype process where I'm sending stuff all over from the east to the west, all of my pros' hands that are touching those baits, and they're giving me feedback on them. Sometimes we'll cut a mold 5, 6, 8 times to make sure and ensure that it's right, so that when ultimately it gets to your hands, you can have full confidence on when you're grabbing that jig and you're threading that lure on, that bait is right because of all of the hands that have touched it before yours do.
I came from the mud, there's dirt on my hands, strong like a tree, there's roots where I stand. They sing on a sleepless night, try to catch me howling at the moon.
Our partnership with Clam Pro Tackle and Clam Outdoors is one that kind of began in its infancy as a Davy and Goliath story. We were this little Davy company from Western New York, and really the Goliath of the ice fishing world started with a simple phone call with me as I was a kind of a fledgling pro with them, and they said, "Hey, we know you make some plastics. What do you think about making plastics for Clam?" And I immediately had this feeling in my stomach of both excitement, and I was scared to death over the reality of how could I produce enough baits, and if I put my name and my initials and my stamp on it and I say I'm going to commit to this, I'm a guy who's going to absolutely follow through and make that happen. So I was so excited at the beginning, but also terrified at the beginning because of the reality of what that partnership could mean. What I found out was I was welcomed with open arms into the Clam family, And what that really meant was they were going to spend the time to support me and give me what I needed as a small company to work with the biggest company in the United States and probably in the world in ice fishing, and kind of bring me along and make me more of the Goliath family of products. And that's just such a huge, it was a boost to me, obviously financially, so our company can continue to develop new bugs and new fishing tools for people. But also, from my perspective as a pro and as a person who just goes out and fishes and catches more fish, I was so impressed with their commitment to this small company in the United States, that they stayed with me the whole time. They want to be with us and do business with us, but they give us the freedom still. They give me personally the freedom still to theorize what bugs need to be made for the water, to make the first prototypes and send them out to them, to create those finished products and to put them in bags so that Clam can put their name next to mine and be very proud of the product that not only Maki Plastic is creating for them, but this partnership has created for all of you as fishermen. One of the things that I'm very proud of, honestly, is the fact that our vision at Maki Plastic has never changed. It truly, from the beginning of time, was to put quality baits in quality fishermen's hands and allow them to become better at their craft because of the baits that we've made. And by quality, I don't mean people that are on pro staffs. What I mean is somebody that's really good and they just are trying to feed the neighborhood. So they may go pick up a couple of buckets of fish and they take it to one neighbor and get 6 and another neighbor gets 6. That's a quality fisherman to me. A quality fisherman to me is sometimes a pro, but more so a quality fisherman sometimes it's just a mom and her daughter going out and spending quality time together. Our goal from the beginning of time with Maki Plastic has never changed. Put quality baits in quality people's hands, and quality things will happen because of it. So when we say we started at the beginning as this little Davy story, and we've now co-branded with Goliath, our vision has never changed. And honestly, Clam Pro Tackle, Clam Outdoors has embraced this, and their product line does the same thing. Put quality products in quality people's hands and allow them to go enjoy the outdoor quality that all of the rest of us love and are so passionate about. The Mackie story really boils down to one main thing, and that is thankfulness. Quite honestly, it's because we're very, very thankful to have this partnership with Clam Pro Tackle. Has meant the world to me. But more so, I'm thankful that people are getting more people because of their size and their scope and what Clam can do with marketing, and then also getting baits into people's hands. I'm thankful that more people are out there enjoying the outdoors, that they're catching more fish, that they're doing what they love and embracing that outdoor lifestyle more perhaps than they ever could have if Maki Plastic was just still the small little company. So for everyone, I guess the message I would like you to hear is I'm so very thankful for not only you as a consumer that are going to invest in our product line and put it into use. I'm thankful for the next generation of fisher people that will pick up the information you got. And I want to motivate all of you to not sit on your good ideas, to not sit on your your own small little ideas of how maybe you could help other people be more, do more, catch more out in the outdoors. But I want you to share that with everybody else so that you can feel the thankfulness that I have inside of me, that really it comes only from the fact that I think people are going to catch more fish, put more fish in their bucket because of the products that we've been able to create, produce, and then ultimately get into your hands.